Hey everyone, I've got another product review here for you today. This is a steering wheel from Hansshow Auto. Look at that, it looks sharp. I'm really excited actually. It feels so smooth up here and it grips well. I don't have to worry about this tearing away. This material up here was always super fragile. And you know, it just grips really nice up here, and then especially here, this is gonna be really ergonomic for long road trips. You can use my discount code and save about $100 off of the steering wheel. Now, these are not cheap, but in my opinion, they are definitely worth it. I think my discount is the steepest discount you can get on their website. Also, you can upgrade your round steering wheel for a yoke by going to Hansshow Auto. You can upgrade to a circular steering wheel that's more ergonomically friendly. It looks nicer with real carbon fiber and Nappa leather. In this case, the stitching on the leather here is better than my original OEM wheel. And if you are anything like me and you've owned your car for a while, sometimes that leather starts to fade over time. So it's definitely worthy to get a upgrade for about $350, maybe a little bit more. Not too bad shipping from China. The hard part is getting the old steering wheel off. You are gonna need some tools. So we're gonna dive into kind of the unboxing and the install, and then we're gonna test it out. First things first, you can see it's a round steering wheel, 100% real carbon fiber. It's an upgrade, obviously. Let's see what else the box says. Okay, ergonomically friendly, yes. Racing inspired, aerodynamic style, 100% real carbon fiber, great. I wouldn't expect anything less. And made with real leather and Alcantara. Let's open up the box and see what we have inside. I did open this up earlier. I took out some of the units. There was like some barcodes for an installation video and also kind of the website overall link. But this is the wheel itself. Let's take it out here. These wheels here are like the metallic material, whereas my original wheel, it is not metallic. I'll show you that in a second here, but this looks really sharp. Let's take a look at the stitching. I really like the red strip at the top. That way you can see, especially for me with my self-driving videos, you'll be able to see my wheel turning. Now this thing is a bit heavy, right? There's a connector there, and then this is like a control module down there. And I noticed the cable is kind of stuck down there. I'm gonna have to pull that out, but look at that carbon fiber look. I think that looks really sharp. And the back, obviously you're never gonna see the back, but on mine, I'll show you the stitches. The stitching, when I grab my wheel right now, it's like right here, there's a stitch coming out on my original OEM wheel. And it's always kind of bothered me, but not enough to kind of throw it in the trash type of thing. But definitely a swap out is gonna be a big upgrade for me. The back looks really superb as well. Take a look at the carbon fiber wrap. It's really tight around the seams and the edges. It looks really nice. And it's important to inspect these, you know, straight out of the box just to make sure everything looks nice, because you're going to be living with this in your car every time you drive, right? And then inside of this box, which I took out already, were some tools. Let me show you what those look like. You'll have a little plastic bag, and inside of here is a little box for a connector, which is wired on the bottom here. This is going to have to go inside of here. And then there is a little bracket here to remove the cable harnesses, and you're going to put that on each one of those and pinch. I'll go through that in a minute here. So we have this little connector box, and there's latches on there to put the connector inside. So 2 latches here and then 2 latches here. So we'll have to get into that here in a moment. This tool helps to remove the steering wheel, and you're going to notice on this steering wheel as well, there's 2 little holes on the back, and this is how you remove your steering wheel. You're going to put this inside of here. It's a really tight fit. This is actually just barely going in there. Okay, you can see it coming down right there by that cable harness. That's going to come in, and it's going to press this bracket. That's going to release this spring here that's going to allow you to remove the old steering wheel. Actually, not the steering wheel itself, but the airbag unit. Now, to take the airbag unit off, you are going to have to power down your car. Now, what I would recommend is following the service manual instructions on that. And let's pull that up right now. What you can do is go into the menu here, and you're going to select your browser. You're going to tap on the browser. So we're going to search Google, Steering wheel removal, Tesla Model 3, service manual. Enter. There it is, right at the top result. Steering wheel remove and install. So there's some key things to note here. First of all, it talks about the tools needed. And you'll see it mentions the torque, 80 Newton meters or 59 foot-pounds of force or torque. That is very difficult to measure unless you have a torque meter, which I don't, but it says it recommends to replace the nut inside of here. So I did pick this up at the service center. It was about like $2. And the reason why is because I really struggled removing my old bolt, and I'll get into that in a second on how difficult it was to remove that. But it says that you need a 10 millimeter hex, and you need a 3/8 inch standard ratchet and a 3/8 inch flex head torque wrench, and that's for the installation only, and then a 3-inch extension. So I'll show you the tools that I have that I got it to work. But it talks about setting your wheels straight, which my steering wheel is straight right now, and then removing the second row seat cushion in the back. That's going to allow you to turn off the power. So number 3 is remove the rear underhood apron. And then step 4, disconnect the low voltage power. Remove the driver airbag, and then disconnect the steering wheel electrical wiring harness connector. Step 7 is remove and discard the bolt that attaches to the steering wheel to the steering column. And you'll notice with this bolt, you definitely don't want to go third party. It has some Loctite on it, and you're going to want to use the OEM. This is, a safety critical component of your car, so you're definitely going to want to get an OEM replacement. Now, some people have replaced it with the same bolt. That is possible, but I wouldn't recommend it. Do yourself a favor and just pick up another bolt for, $2 or $3. Hopefully the service center isn't too far away. And then it says, use the following tools to do that. Remove the steering wheel from the steering column. And then it says to install. Position this, blah, blah, blah. There is a video that Hansshow listed, which I'm going to follow their video from here. But after you install everything, after you install the new steering wheel, you are going to then install the airbag. So the airbag is this unit here. And that's when we press that tool in from the side. Again, those holes are right here. When you press that in, that's going to remove this airbag unit. And when you order your steering wheel, you can order a new airbag look, like something that matches the new steering wheel that you get. Kind of cool that you have that option available. I think that may increase the price a little bit. I opted to use my existing one, so not a problem there. And then the last step is to reconnect the low voltage power. So in the installation video from Hansshow, which you'll get an instruction manual, it does not mention removing the low voltage power in the back, but I think it's a good idea to do that. So what I'm going to do here, because I've done this before for a low voltage battery, is I'm just going to lower all of my windows just a little bit. I don't need to go all the way, but I'm just going to lower them just so that nothing shatters. I don't shatter the windows when the power goes off. You never know. It's just safe to roll them down a little bit. In the back seat, right down here, there's a little tiny latch. You're going to have to use your hand coming in. Here it is. It's like right here behind the seat, a little bit offset. I'm just going to pull that in, and then that releases the seat cushion. See that little styrofoam block? You're going to pull that out. There, so I just pulled the styrofoam block out. It looks like that. And now you can see the connector right there. That little latch is going to be pulled down, and then it's going to remove the low voltage power. This is overkill, by the way. You don't need to do all of this in prep, but I do recommend it. Whoops, we're going to go back in here, go to safety, come all the way down, power off. Yes. Okay. Screen and HVAC powered off. And in the manual, it mentions to wait 30 seconds or something, maybe a minute. So give it some time before you start getting in and doing everything. And then this latch, we're going to pull it toward us. It's a bit stiff. Grab it toward the top, actually. There's a little latch right there. And then once you push it down, you can hear it. It'll go clunk. There we go. Pull it all the way out just like that. So I sat down in the seat and the system powered up. This is another power system, But we don't want that. As soon as you sit on the seat, it's going to always try to turn itself back on again. So we'll come in here. I might have to do this multiple times. Just going to power it off again. First step is to use our tool here, and we're going to insert it into those holes. And there we go, the left side. And then we're just going to wiggle it here a little bit. Might have to do it back on the right side. At least we have the bottom now released. Let's go on the right here. Come on, please. There we go. Now it's coming out. Now this is where these connectors. Now you don't need to use these, but it's convenient if you can reach in there. Because it's a lot easier just to use my fingers. I'm going to grab these connectors. You have to have kind of smaller hands, I think, maybe. Requires a little bit of force to pull that yellow one out, but it's the whole yellow connector that comes out. So tug at it pretty good before it comes out. It helps actually to not use the tool. So I'm going to set this delicately aside here. And then we have this next one here. We're going to see if the tool works on this one. This tool is hit or miss. I mean, it's kind of hard to, you get that in there and it doesn't really grip it. So I'm going to use my hands here again. There we go. A little bit of patience and those will come out. Now, this is the tough part. You're going to need a wrench. And I originally used something like this and it was offset really far. And I thought this was great, but actually a lot of the torque goes into the tool. So you don't want something too big. You want something that's going to fit right on it. So this is like a 3-inch adapter. You might have to go to the store. It's going to cost maybe 20 bucks to get a set of these where you get a 10 millimeter socket. And this is going to go inside of here. Now, even this 3-inch offset wasn't enough. A lot of the torque was going into the tool. So what I found, because mine was specifically very tight on there, I had to remove the 3-inch adapter here. So let me take that off. The less adapters you have, the better. So I'm going to put it inside of here now, and I'm going to lock it down in place and now pull. And you're going to have to put your weight into it because it's a very tough one to do. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. There we go. So now mine came loose. And if you can extend the length of this by any way, that would help as well. I'm going to go ahead and loosen this. All right, I got it off. Now you can see the damage that I did to this. So this is why I recommend getting a replacement bolt from the Tesla Service Center. There we are. The old one came off. How about that? There's a groove on the bottom there that you can see that it helps to make sure it goes in the exact same spot every single time. So now there's a little box down here we're going to have to take off. And to do that, we're going to have to remove some screws on here. So, okay, you're going to need a T20 to remove these. And then there's a second one up in here. And this one is harder to get to. Each one of these pulls up. So you're going to pull this one out, and pull this one out. And then that can kind of be pulled out of the way. You can see there's another screw there, and then there's another screw there. So there's 4 total that you need to take apart. Great. So now that those came off, this whole unit should... So I'm going to grab it right here is what I found works, and pull up. And then same thing on the top. I'm trying to make this as easy as possible. There we go. There's a clip there. And we'll apply a little bit more force here. There we go. So now we're almost there. It looks like we just have on the bottom section. There we go. On the bottom, be careful not to break that on the bottom. I have a steering wheel cover I probably should have taken off, but there's 2 little holes down there. And mine just happened to be stuck in there a little bit firm. But if we look on the back, it's just those 2 holes like that. So what we're really looking for here now is this guy. So we got to take that out. So we're going to, this one we don't need a tool for. You pull this down. Okay, great. Now this is the unit that we need to take apart. And we may be able to do this while it's already on here. There's a clip there. We're going to undo that. And there's another clip over here. We're going to pull that up very gently so we don't break anything. Great. And then this is the unit we want to get out of here, but it's a circuit board. So be careful on this step. On the bottom, there's 2 more clips. So we're going to very gently pull these up. There we go. That's one. And then we got one more here on the right. Perfect. Again, hard to do with one hand, but this should come off. Now be very careful with this circuit board. Okay, you're going to notice that right here there's a groove holding it in place, and you can bend the plastic a little bit. There's a plastic tab that's going to allow it to come loose on the bottom, and then over here as well you can kind of push out and away. That's going to release the circuit board. So again, you're going to need 2 hands, but release one side first and then the other side next, and this thing will come all the way out. Now the new steering wheel has this unit kind of, you have to tuck this into the same spot essentially on the new unit. However, on the new steering wheel, it's tucked in there, so we need to actually remove that same cover. So let's do that real quick. And here's the new steering wheel. You can see it's tucked way down in there. That blue cable is the one that I tried to pull out and it just wouldn't come out. So I'm going to have to do the same surgery here on this one to remove this so I can get to that plug, and I'm going to have to take this whole unit off. So to do that, again, hopefully this is the same as the OEM. I'm going to pull up on this. It should come out. Let's try on this side here. A bit stiff. It did come up on the right side, but it's not as easy as the original one was. I went to grab my T20 and I realized this is a Phillips. Thankfully, I did bring a Phillips screwdriver, and it's easier access, it looks like. Well, no, it's the same. On the left, it gets blocked a little bit by this plastic unit, so I might have to yank at this some more to pull it up. And it looks like there's 2, 3, 4, same as the other one. Just as I suspected, that screw is trapped in there, so we're going to pull it up. So let's take a look underneath. You can see those 2 things there that allow it to come out. So if you pull on both of those tabs, it should release. So let me do that right now. You're going to need 2 hands to do that. It helps to use a tool to kind of push those tabs as you pull from the back end, and then those will come out fairly easily. So now let's turn it back over and let's continue getting these screws out. Okay, so all of those are out. Pull up. Again, I'm clenching it here on the back, kind of pulling up. Looks like it's starting to come apart. Pull it up over here. There we go. Okay, knocked the camera out of the way a little bit, but yeah, that released it. And then we got a little bit more work over here. There we go. It's not too bad. And then the bottom, yeah, that's nice. It helps to kind of pull that up first, because it got trapped when I was pulling it like this. They were then at an angle. Now that comes out really nice and easy. So here's where that unit's going to tuck inside of there. So the nice thing is that they provide a little compartment for you. So we can just use this replacement one. I'm sure you could use the original one, but might as well set that aside unless you broke the tabs for some reason. So what I did is, and it probably helps to use some gloves, but just so you don't want to really put your fingers on the circuit board, but I pressed it in place on this top piece first. And that seems to have helped, because that connector needs to come all the way up there, and it helps to kind of get this top piece going first. All right, the key is on the top piece. If you place it in, you can press it firmly in place so it's snug, so it's nice and flush with the plastic piece, especially down here. Now that that's snug up against the edges, this should now slide in place really nicely. Place that in there. It's a really tight fit, but that'll clip in place entirely and lock in there. And you don't want that rattling around, certainly. So that's why it's such a tight fit, and it's just perfectly manufactured so that it fits in there. You're gonna have to be careful with the tabs so you don't break them off, but once that's in place, that is going to go inside of here and orient itself so that it's this way. So this boxy unit is going to be facing back, going backwards. There we go. You could hear it snap in place. So we can take a look underneath, and there the tab made its way all the way. So that's what we want. Now that that's in place, we're going to drop that in the appropriate spot and then assemble this wheel. The nice thing here is that it just snaps, everything should snap back in place. I would suggest starting with the bottom and then working your way around. And then the top here, these are going to go inside of here, so don't miss that little step. Great, nice and snug. Now we're going to put the screws back in place. All right, all the screws are back in place, and we're going to snap these back in. Start with the bottom one, I think is the easier one to start with. There we go. It didn't snap in place, but it went in there. The top one. Okay, it looks like the tabs are in place over there. I think there, and not so much on the bottom. We're going to have to work on that one. Yeah, just make sure these are in there nice and good. Okay, definitely need 2 hands. You're going to have to press pretty firmly to hit those. That's the correct one that you want. You're going to see them all back in place. Great. Now we are almost done. We're going to take our new steering wheel. Oh, this thing looks nice. I love the grip here. This is just going to be a huge upgrade for me. I am really excited about this. And we've got the same groove here. I don't know if you can see it on the bottom. So we're going to line that up here. It's tough to know how far in it needs to go, but rotate it a little bit, kind of jerk it. Vibration helps. You want it to go as far down as it possibly can. And I'm going to show you the threshold here to look out for, based on what I'm seeing at least. I might have to test with the old wheel real quick just to confirm that it goes deep enough. Let me do that here, and then I'll verify with everybody. But right now, just to show you what I'm seeing, there's an offset. I believe it goes deeper than that, so we're going to find out. Okay, the original wheel is also giving me an offset there, so I believe that's normal. Now, I didn't play enough. Let me just put because I thought this might go on easier, but it's actually about the same resistance level. So I'm going to put the new one back on again and just jiggle it and kind of pound on it to make sure it's all the way in. All right, very good to know. There is an offset, so that is normal. And before I put that screw back in, I'm going to put the connectors back in place. So the left one is going to go in there first. There we go. This is where we're going to have to really torque it down good. So torque it down as much as you can. That Loctite is on that bolt, so it will not come off. It's just really important to pull it as much as you can. Without a torque wrench, you're not going to know what that 80 Newton meter mark is. If you have a torque wrench, or if you have a neighbor that has a torque wrench, definitely recommend checking that. But I know a lot of people that are a lot more mechanically inclined than I am that have done this without torque wrenches. You just have to get a feel for how much it took to undo the nut in the first place, or the bolt in the first place. And in my case, it was stubborn and took way too much. I don't think I need to put it back as much as it was before. This should be good enough. So now the last step is to put that airbag back in place, and then we should be good to go. I'm going to show you the back of the original wheel and where the stitching was coming loose and why this wheel is better. Here's the original wheel, and you can see right here, this stitch is coming undone a little bit. And I would always feel this with my finger when I was driving. Now, because I have the self-driving in my car, a lot of times I'm not touching the steering wheel. But if you enjoy driving your car manually, which I do from time to time, it's definitely nice to be able to have a wheel that feels nice. And this original wheel, it wasn't bad, but let's just look at a comparison here. This one, the modified one, looks way better. I don't know about you, but man, night and day difference. I'm a big fan of the new look. Now, I'm going to put, obviously, the airbag back in place, and there's that last little cable to snap in place, but everything else is good. We've got that wire down there. By the way, that blue piece, that's for the heated function. If you have a heated steering wheel, this will heat up, which is awesome. That's a feature on this. And I wish my Model 3 had the heated steering wheel function, but these wheels, they just feel so much nicer. Oh, I was going to show you that. So see the metallic look? Let me show you the original wheel. It's way worse. You can see on the original one, it was like this rubber material. Now, unless you have a 2018 or 2019, you're probably not going to have that rubber material. But look at the difference there. I mean, that is just so much nicer looking, isn't it? Oh man, that just pops. I am super happy with this steering wheel. I am excited now. I'm really excited. We're at the final stretch here. It's been a while. I'm not gonna lie. This took a little while to do. I mean, over an hour. We're coming up at 5 p.m. Now, I did do a video in between, which you're gonna have to check out on my channel, is can you drive without a steering wheel? And that's why it took extra long compared to what normally would take. I'd give yourself a good hour to 2 hours to do this job, but be prepared for a stubborn nut in here. It's very stubborn in my case. So that took the longest amount of time. And in fact, like I said, I gave up the first time I got a steering wheel. All right, last thing is to put that airbag in. Let's go grab it. Going right in there. You're gonna hear a snap. Let's wait for it. Yes, look at that. It snapped in place real nice. All right, last step, pressing this in place. There we go. You're gonna hear some snaps. Ready? There we go. 2 snaps. I think that's enough. If I push on it too hard, it's gonna honk the horn. Look at that. Look, I'm loving it. And this grip here, wow, that feels nice. And this is gonna be really great for my self-driving videos. You can see the wheel moving. Look at that. It looks sharp. I'm really excited, actually. It feels so smooth up here. And it grips well. I don't have to worry about this tearing away. This material up here was always super fragile. And you know, it just grips really nice up here. And then especially here, this is gonna be really ergonomic for long road trips in the case that I'm touching the wheel, which I'll be honest, most of the time I'm not. But the bottom has really nice grips down here. This is really excellent. One thing before we take off, I just noticed this. If you go into the menu here, under the lights, there's an option here for steering wheel lights. And this does not work because you don't have lights on this unit. So an interesting note, on the old unit, you had these little arrows right and left, and these would actually light up. There was a little LED light inside. Here, we don't get that. So just be aware of that. You're gonna lose the steering wheel light option. There we have it. In summary, I am extremely excited. Even just turning the steering wheel, that new feel is just so fantastic. I am really, really looking forward to using this on a daily basis. It grips well, it just feels great, and that carbon fiber just gives it that nice smooth touch. It's not super shiny and it's not super matte finish either. And I love that little red strip at the top. And I tested the wheels out as I was driving, and they feel sharp and really crisp and new. The grooves, they move up and down really nicely. So I'm a big fan. You can pick this up for, I believe, around $350 off of Hansshow Auto. Again, check out my link down below in the description, and you can use my discount code TechGeek to get that discount. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great day.